This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Ann McMillan. I'm the chair of the College Outreach COI. Today, we have a pretty packed agenda today, so we're going to try to get through the first items rather quickly so we can move on to our important items of today. So thanks again, everybody, for coming. It's our monthly COI call. We have it at the same time every month. Eddie, would you like to do your national update?
Yes. So the first big thing is SME's made the decision to go virtual for all of our conference for the first half of 2021. So that's going to impact the DC meeting that we have, and then JATC in Portland will now be virtual as well. So I just wanted to clue everybody in. I also just wanted to put a placeholder on other discussions that we hope will come up on future calls, just to keep you enticed as to what we're working on as a COI. We have had discussions about putting together an academia working group to take advantage of the academic members that we have, and then being able to also be more attractive to academic institutions wanting to take part in our work. So be on the lookout for more on that in 2021. We've also started having some discussions with the leadership team about planning a virtual job fair sometime in the fall. This would serve two purposes. One, to continue to add value to our student members as to why they should be a part of SAME, but it's also a way for us to connect to our sustaining members who host internships. I've spoken to 2 companies in the past month, and between them, they host 700 interns. So I want to make sure that, one, they know about our students as a recruitment pool, but also that our students get a fair shot at some of those opportunities. So more on that later. And then we've got 2 guidances that are still in the works that we'll brief this community on. One is a scholarship guidance that we're updating to really take advantage of all the different ways that posts are now doing scholarships. And then the mentor advisory group that's part of the leader development community of interest is putting the final touches on a mentoring guidance that we're going to produce and be able to brief everyone on. I think that's it for me.
Great, thank you. All right, as far as leadership updates, we had our last leadership team meeting on 13 November, and we're planning to have our next meeting in January. We worked on assessing where we were as far as our work plan and our goals moving forward for the rest of the year. We should see some updates in January as far as dates for future events and what we've been working on, and in addition to what we have further on in the agenda today. We also have a couple changes in our leadership team. So we recently brought on board Marilyn Zenko as the Vice Chair of Student Chapter Operations, and Tiffany Castriconi has switched over to Vice Chair of Events. So that's congratulations to them, and welcome aboard to Marilyn for joining us. Again, as always, if anybody is interested in getting more involved, please let me know. We're always happy to have more people involved in the committee and planning and moving forward with the COI. So send me an email if you're interested, and even if you aren't quite sure what you want to do, if you're just interested in getting more involved, let me know and we can definitely find a way to add you in. I think that's about it for the leadership team, so I guess I will send it over to Jill for item number 5, our streamers presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Jill,
Let me
there we go.
share my screen.
So for context, we asked Jill to come and present on the new streamer plan to just update us and make sure that you are all aware of the things that you'll be able to action as part of this new strategy. So thanks to Jill for joining us.
Give me a second, trying to switch what you see. There we go. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, so if you have been part of one of the regional briefings that I have done over the last 2 months or so, you probably have seen this and it's a repeat, but I'll go through this quickly because it predominantly pertains to the posts and what they will be doing with the new streamer program. So the goal, if it would move ahead. I'm not sure why my screen's not moving, but it should be.
It's not advancing on our end either. Yeah. Yeah, I can always try. Oh, there it goes. Oh.
Slowly.
Yeah, it's doing a split screen.
Yeah, I don't know why. All right, so let's try something else here. Do you have the slides up, Eddie?
Yeah, let me take back the screen.
All right, go ahead. And then I'll just do the demo on my laptop because that's easy.
Apologies, folks. We'll get this taken care of just a second. All right. Yeah, just tell me when to advance, Joe.
Just you can go ahead. So the goal of the new streamers was, really to align the tasks that are now laid out in the strategic plan with the local post needs as well as supporting the strategic plan. We wanted to accommodate post size, local program preferences. We wanted to weigh the tasks of the streamers with the desired impact, streamline reporting to save post time, volunteer time, simplify the administration of the program. For anyone who's ever reviewed a streamer, sometimes they come in and they literally have 50 pages of documentation. So the goal was to try and get away from having to provide all of that information and be able to focus more on activities at the post level and provide an easier evaluation process for the streamers. And I think there might be one more bullet there. Eddie, if you want to advance.
Nope.
Okay, so overview. Currently, we have 4 streamers and 1 for membership. We are now moving to 1 streamer for all of the strategic plan goals and then 1 for membership. It's a point-based system and it's based on the size of the post. So obviously, the larger the post, the more points are required to earn the streamer. The overall requirements are that you have to do something in industry government engagement because that's what we are founded on. And then you also need to submit the streamer information as part of your annual post plan. And of course, the annual report submission is a requirement because that's what keeps us honest as a nonprofit. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, and the board will oversee the evaluations. That's the other piece. Okay, so probably some folks on this call had some input into this last summer and fall as we developed the task list for the streamers. We asked all of the COIs to review them, and the tasks, as we said, they're suggested. We want posts to be able to find things that they do, maybe look at the lists and say, oh, there's something that we could be doing that will support this goal. But they're really suggested, and we're looking at it as what's the intention of the task to support the strategic plan. Everything was developed with input from across the society. So our strategic plan task force that really put together a strategic plan last year, they took the first crack at it. Then we had our communities of interest, the RVPs, and eventually the posts review everything that's in the streamer plan. We asked everyone, put them in order. What do you think has the most impact in each of the goals? And so that was how we developed the point system based on the impact of the task on the strategic plan. So the greater the impact, the greater number of points. I need to modify this next bullet, but essentially, if there's something that's on there that a post wants to do, or that's not on there, we will have a review team that will look at the submission. They'll be able to put something in and say, okay, where is this fall within the strategic plan that you want to do? And we'll tap people from the appropriate COIs, so if it's something that comes up that falls into the realm of college outreach, which might be under STEM or developing leaders, we would have, somebody from this COI take a look at that, along with elected directors who will be leading the teams for review, and looking at that and saying, okay, yes, we agree that this is something that is going to support this goal within the strategic plan, and assign it a point value. And then after we're done the first round of all of this, which is really like a year plus from now, we'll do a sensitivity analysis and we'll make any adjustments as necessary based on what we see in the submissions. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so overall the requirements, as I said, one task from goal 1, which is industry government engagement. It can be something that earns you 250 points. It could be something that earns 25 points, but you need to do something in industry government engagement. The second part of it is the rest of your points can be made up from any of the other goals within the strategic plan. So for those posts that we have that we know are out there that love to do STEM stuff, they might make up the rest of their possible points in the STEM category. If it's a post that really wants to work on resilience, they could make them up in resilience or a combination thereof. So it's really a flexible program that allows the posts to do what they love to do and support the tasks that their members are most interested in. And as you can see, there's a variety of tasks under each goal, and then possible point totals. Okay, next slide. Okay, the online system. So this is probably where, when we get to the review part of this, I'll show you. The posts are going to enter everything in an online system. So no more PDFs into Dropbox, anything like that. They're going to log into a post leader dashboard. They'll access the submission form, and they'll be able to just write up their description of, I think it's actually, 2,000 characters or less to support that task. And the focus we want is focus on the impact. What did we do when we had that college job fair? How many kids did we reach? How many resumes did we review? Those kinds of things. What's the impact? That's what we're asking them to focus on. Not pages and pages of, PowerPoint or, publicizing an event that they've done. We really want them to focus on impact. And then our mandate to them is do it as soon as you do the task. So if you hold, for example, a career fair, then you know what? Have somebody that is at the post level who's going to be responsible for putting that information in a timely manner, because what we're hoping to do is have everything reviewed at a minimum quarterly. So review teams will be able to go in, look at their assigned posts that they need to review for, and then either assign points or ask for more information. So obviously they're going to get lots of reminders. Moving ahead. Evaluations of the submissions. So the national officer who is over the regional vice presidents and the awards and recognition COI has total oversight of the streamer evaluation process. We will have teams led by our national elected directors. So those are the members of the board who are directly elected by the membership. And obviously it's going to include COI members. So we will be reaching out to you as a COI to say, okay, who are the couple of people that would be willing to review streamers, specifically looking at the areas that impact your goal and portion of the program. So like I said, predominantly going to be leader development area and STEM. The evaluators are going to look at those submissions, say, does that meet the intent of the task under the goal? And they're going to either award points and it's all or nothing. Now, if they have questions or they're not sure that the description is sufficient, the submitter's name is going to be there and they'll reach back to them and say, hey, can you provide us more information? Not sure that this really meets the intent. And it's like the immediate reclama period, which we've had in the past, which tends to be like a week after we've done the final streamers review. So it's going to be an ongoing process. And we're going to ask that evaluators look at those things and reach back if they have questions and get more clarification so that they can then go back in, update the submission and review again and award the points for the activity. Once we get down to the end of the year, they'll lecture directors along with the awards and rec are going to take a final look at the streamer submissions, look at the point totals, the membership numbers, and then that'll determine the final streamer results as well as distinguished post. Next slide. Okay, distinguished post requirements. You contribute to all 5 of the goals. You have to exceed the number of required points, and you have to grow membership by combined 5% for individual and sustaining members. So we've changed the membership streamer a little bit for those who are interested. It is now, we are counting individual numbers and sustaining member companies. We are no longer counting the representatives within that total. So we are telling posts that they have to grow their membership. We are not telling them by how much or what percentage, but they have to grow. And then to earn distinguished posts, they would need to grow by 5% combined between the two. Okay, next. Let's see if I can share my screen again, and I'll walk you through the submission. Okay, so just so you know how this is all going to work, we're going to log in to the Walla Walla post. And you'll see up here it says streamer, Walla Walla streamer. This is where the posts are going to go to submit their streamer information. So this is what it looks like. Tells them, here's your deadline. It says what kind of post you are. Here's a reminder of how many points they need to earn. If they want the whole task list, they can click here and it looks like this. So everything is listed in the strategic plan, but we'll get to that. You go back here. They're going to scroll down to whatever goal. So industry government engagement, it's got all 5 objectives. They can click on those. Resilience, developing leaders. Okay, we're going to go, it's under objective 2 that we want to enter the information. Eventually it'll come up. There we go. Person puts in their contact information, save and continue. Okay, what are we doing? Promote a structured SME mentoring, continuing highlighting growth and leadership opportunities for members at all levels. So you put in your information. Right? If there's anything else under that objective, each task list is here, right above the submission part. You're going to scroll all the way down and hit submit. And it'll show you a page that says everything that has been submitted. So you can see we've done some of these in the past. And you can go, I think, down at the bottom. Can we go all the way to the back to the dashboard? And then you can see the streamer submittal to date. So it doesn't have what I put in there, but the other thing is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, not on this page, sorry. Natasha has been working on this, so she may have changed things a little bit on me. To be at the bottom of this page. Here it is, I missed it. Is the total score for the streamer. So they'll always be able to see once they've been evaluated, what's the total number of points that they have earned. And it'll show under each goal what they've earned. So that's the dashboard and what it looks like for them to submit. We've not finished building out the review dashboard yet, so I can't share that. But I'll show you, you can find all of the streamer information if you go to the Post Resource Center, and you can scroll down to Streamer Awards. Click on that. You'll see the revised criteria for this year, which I'm going to cover tomorrow in a webinar if you're interested. The full information for the current streamer program, and then here is all the new information. So the program overall, we have a planning tool that we developed that is an Excel spreadsheet that allows hosts to help plan what they want to do so they could see, where they would be with a point system. Just by plugging in, yep, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yeah, if we did this, we did that, and they'll give them a point total, and then a copy of essentially this briefing. So that's all I have. If you have any questions, happy to take those, or you can shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to answer that at any time.
Hey Jill, this is Marilyn in Philly. How are you?
I'm good, Marilyn. How are you?
I'm all right. I have a question, and this may be a stupid question, but just bear with me here. For the point systems, I noticed that you have different tasks that's been outlined. Now I was curious that if, let's say, we hold a STEM day for one school district, and then 3 months later we hold another STEM day for a different school district, would that count as one task, or would that count as two separate tasks that would each get like the 75 points?
Excellent question, because it's one that comes up frequently. And what we have done is under each goal, you will have the ability to do something twice. So for example, in the, let's see if I can get there. Give me a second. Yeah, so we'll just use this one. So if you do something twice under the goal of industry government engagement, say you do 2 industry government engagement workshops, you will have the ability to enter both of them twice and earn points twice for 2 different events. But you only have that option once under each goal. So 1 IGE, 1 resilience, 1 developing leaders, 1 STEM, and 1 under the veterans support, and the last one, which is escaping me, but you know what I'm saying. So you will have the option to do that. So if it's something that you do twice, I would say, pick the one that's going to give you the most points. But yes, you'll be able to do that for each goal for one thing. Okay, looks like Kelly has thrown in a question there about the student chapter streamer. We didn't tackle that with regards to this particular streamer program. And, that's certainly something that we can do. We can develop that if you would like to, and I would suggest that this COI is probably the right group to do that. Typically, we don't get a lot of submissions for the student chapter streamer, but if that's something that you want to pursue, we can certainly put that together and make that available for your student chapters. And we have time to do it too, because I would presume that it would be something that they probably would not submit for until 2022. Does that make sense, Eddie?
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah, I think it's,
So
yeah, it's so who would we provide feedback to, or how do we organize to do that?
Again, because it wasn't part of my mandate when I did this, it wasn't something that included, but I think that you as a COI could develop that criteria and say, what is it that you think constitutes this a student chapter streamer? What is it, the things that you want to see them doing that advances the areas of leader development, of STEM, and we'll put it together. I'm not sure if we need to take that. I need to check with Kathy on the bylaws relative to student streamer, because it's not actually addressed in our bylaws, and whether we would need to have the national board approve that. My guess is no, because I don't know that I know this. It's not in the board. It's not in the bylaws. So
Would you be able to
I would say
clarify
that-
things? I'm a little confused. We currently have a student chapter streamer. So you're saying that after this year there wouldn't be a student chapter streamer because we're because of the launch of the new program?
you could continue to use the same one if you'd like. I don't have any
Okay,
objection.
I was just
to
a little
that.
confused. I didn't know if it was just going away because the whole new program was coming out. So if we
No.
want to still use the current student chapter streamer or update it.
Yeah, it's more that it's not part of this scheme at the moment. It's its own standalone streamer. So I think that's
Right.
part of. I see
Kelly,
the discussion.
does that help answer your question as well? That there still is a student chapter streamer, but it's just outside of the program that still is the.
Yeah, I think what we're wanting to address
Right.
is, should it be part of this unified strategy and not be a standalone, is I think the question I would like to investigate. But for now, we have our own means.
Okay,
Joe,
I
we
just wanted to clarify. I was a little unsure of how that would. Okay, that makes sense. I think that's definitely something that we should discuss and figure out if it's possible.
There's two
Yeah,
questions
I would suggest you want to align it with the new strategic plan goals, and looking at what what some of the things are that are in the strategic plan that align maybe with the student chapters.
Yeah, and Dick's on the call. I'm going to ask him if he's comfortable. I have a tool he developed that I want to show next and have him explain what he's done with the streamers. But we have two more questions in the chat. Kelly Sack is asking, it is typically submitted in April, correct? So will this be for?
That's the student streamer. The student chapter streamer was typically submitted in April. The post streamers are going to be due January 31st, as they've always been.
Gotcha. Okay, I missed the variance there. And then let me see. Dick is asking, how and when do we submit alternative tasks for the goals objective?
Yeah, Dick, we'll develop a place where that can be submitted online from the post, and we'll allow. Initially, we thought we're going to do this in the beginning of each year. Hopefully that posts are planning their year out, but of course COVID threw us a wrench, and we've got to change on the fly. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're going to develop a a place for posts to submit that an alternative task for the goals and objectives online. So.
Okay, and we have one last question again from Dick. Is there going to be an example of membership growth, how membership growth will be calculated that will be sent out? There was a reference to it at a post-president call.
Yeah, we'll do that. Essentially, what it's going to be is sort of like how we provide membership numbers now. You get for your post, you get a starting total. Now you're going to get 2. You'll get 1 for here's your individual members, here's your sustaining company members. We'll track them throughout the year, and then add up and divide to find the percentage of growth between the 2 over the course of the year for the posts.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Jill. I appreciate it. Any more calls? You go have her contact info. Dick, are you on the call? Are you on?
I'm here.
Yeah, so do you want to just quickly talk about, and I can add this to the list of handouts from our call today, what you've done?
This is, what I've done is I've looked at all the suggested post tasks, and these are the 17 tasks that relate to college outreach or college or scholarship programs. So these are the things that post will be working on and that we'll be looking at as a community of interest. There's some challenging ones here that I've discussed with Jill several times. If you look at number 1 under goal 4, it talks about the college scholarship program. Now, in order to qualify for this, you have to have a program that awards a scholarship to high school students. In our case, we do not award high school students scholarships. We award college students. And when I talked to Jill, she indicated that we were kind of a rarity. Well, I just went through the post and looked at some of the scholarship programs they have, and there's 8, 9, or 10 of us that have college scholarship only programs. And that was only awarded to college students. So we would not qualify for any points with our current scholarship program. And then if you look at number 4, I'm sorry. It's number 8 on this list. You see that it's talking about a mentorship programs from students that move away from your home post to provide additional support from another post. Now, I don't know if any post is doing this right now, but that's something that I think our COI is going to have to work up how we build a program like that. We have a student that's going to move away to another area.
Yep.
You don't know that, and then we have to work with another post on mentoring, get that student mentoring. So it's something that's a real challenge.
The Emerald Coast Post does this, so, and it is a topic that's going to be in the mentor advisory or into the mentoring guidance that we're working on. So, but I think the way you've described the tasks at the moment, Jill mentioned there will be an assessment at the end of the year. I think there'll be an opportunity, hopefully, to readdress some of these parameters through their process, but also if there's an opportunity to submit a variance to any of these or additional activity, that might be the way to go this year, because I think we're all committed to the way that these tasks are defined now. So it's working with those two. Submitting for alternatives, and then waiting till the end of the year to offer an assessment of this. But this would be a tool that any of the posts could use to zero in on the college outreach specific activity. So we'll post these as part of the meeting minutes on the COI page for anybody that's on the call.
Yeah, I'll jump in here just real quickly, because I think that if a post does submit and says, look, we provided $20,000 worth of scholarship money for engineering students, as you point out, yes, this does specifically say sort of the high school level, because that's what most of our posts do. Honestly, do I think anybody is going to question that you weren't meeting the task or meeting the intent of the task by providing college level scholarships? No. You know, as it's written, yeah, probably we should adjust it come the end of the year and do that sort of that sensitivity analysis. So I would agree with that, Eddie. But I would absolutely say if that's what your post is doing, then you put in for it, and, you know, or submit to the alternative task opportunities and say, this is what we do. We're still providing college scholarships, but we're providing them at that university level, not at the high school level. And I don't think that there would be anybody that would disagree that that's not meeting the intent of the task.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. And thanks, Dick, for your additional piece. Let me pull up the agenda again.
I think next is what is a virtual student chapter.
Yes. So this is Andrew, are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Let me pull up the webinar flyer that was in everybody's reading material. And then do you want to just speak to this real quick, or I can do it?
Sure.
So let me screen up. There we go.
So yeah, hopefully everybody got a chance to see this. So our plan for the virtual student chapter for next year, of course, we're not going to have anything here in December, but kicking off in January, February, and March is going to be an educational series, three sessions. I don't know if you can expand on that or raise that, Eddie, so they can see the 3 sessions we're looking at. We're still working on the actual dates and getting a description of each of them, but we have coordinated with them, and we know that Kiewit will present from their university function that they've got internal to their company. So they're going to do that. So we'll have that in January, February, and March. So again, targeting some more educational things for our students, some preparatory things to get them ready for entering the job place. And then in April, what we're looking at is a webinar that a friend of mine is going to host. He's the Vice President of Attraction Development at Universal Creative, which is Universal Studios. So my thought there was to start a series of webinars where we pick a engineering career field that may not be your typical engineering career field, and find somebody that's willing to speak to how they, you know, their career and how they got to where they were working in that kind of a interesting job. Hopefully he can talk to the internships that they also offer, some things like that. So that's what we're going to do for April. So that's the next or the first 4 months of 2021 for the virtual student chapter. And then one thing you didn't have on the agenda, Eddie, was the survey. So Eddie has helped put together a survey that we hope will be going out, I think, this week.
Yes, and if I can find where I have it, let me show it real quick. Some of this is just to create momentum about our communicating to our student members, you know, really trying to be consistent about engaging them. So we've got the webinar series that Kiewit is doing. I'm hoping that triggers a bunch of other sustaining member firms that have recruit students that they want to get highlighted, and, you know, seeing Kiewit, you know, and what they're doing. I hope we'll get more of them on board. Andrea helped me come up with a survey that then we can send out to our student members. We do have some incentives built in. I've secured some mentoring sessions with Joe as kind of you know, get to know our executive director opportunity. And then we're also going to be giving away some gift cards. So hopefully that'll get us some good responses from the, you know, 5,000 or so student members we have. Basic demographics, we're going to ask for information about where they are in their academic stage. And then it's trying to drill in about their knowledge of SAME, their awareness, one of the topics we're about to hear about is also a challenge we've been trying to address, which is how to effectively communicate with students, topics that we want to include in future webinars, the timing that might work best. So all things that will hopefully help advise not just the virtual student chapter, but the college outreach community of interest on how to really connect with our student members as a community. I think I've mentioned it before. They're students, but they're also members, and we have the burden of communicating to them in both through both lenses, their stage in career and also the fact that we still want them engaged as members. So that is the survey. Let me go back to the. All right. Was that good for you, Andrea?
Yeah, unless there's anybody that has any other suggestions for any webinar topics, I'll pass it on over to Charlie.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat just yet, so but feel free to jump in if anybody wants. The next item on the agenda is we've got a person who just recently joined the leadership team, Charlie Lee from Penn State, who has offered, on our last discussion mentioned a technology or an app, I'll let him describe it, called Discord that he's been using. We've been looking for an alternative to Slack. We haven't really had a lot of activity in that, and not a lot of us use it. So we're trying to find the right method to communicate with our students, and part of that is also looking for the right volunteer to help facilitate it. So I'm going to give Charlie presentation rights here, and then let him dazzle us with his knowledge of Discord. All right, Charlie. How you doing? Feel free to introduce yourself too. And you're on mute, sir.
This is the challenges of using the phone because I was kind of pressed to do it on here because none of my other things actually support GoToMeeting for whatever reason, but we're here now, so that's good. Anyway, my name's Charlie Lee. Penn State student. I go to the Wilkes-Barre campus, but I was at University Park my first go around at school, so I do know the Penn State system, kind of, like from different angles, so to speak. I'm also a cadet at Air Force ROTC Detachment 752, which is actually at Wilkes University, but that doesn't matter too much. Yeah, today I'm kind of here to just talk a little bit, about Discord. Like not only as a tool. Not only as a tool to like as a communication tool amongst not just student members, but even just members at large, but really just why Discord is a thing and why it matters, and like how Sammy could actually use it effectively. So before I can actually really go into just kind of showing you what Discord looks like or anything like that, I'm actually going to post something in the chat real quick, just a little link to an article that I found really interesting. Can probably take out, like a lot of the fluff that I could have said. But it's an article from the Atlantic, how an app for gamers went mainstream. I mean, Discord originally was something that, like a chat platform, video streaming, video chat sort of a platform that was mostly used by gamers originally to kind of help them, connect with some of their, actually with a lot of their viewers who are like streaming themselves, gaming, playing video games, things like that. And then slowly but surely, people figured that, like it's also great as a general chat tool. Like think of it like the IRC of old, but 21st century modernized, with a lot more features, a lot more nice looking eye candy there. But really it's like it's really about how you take human nature that was already there, which is you want to get people who are kind of interested in a similar thing, who probably have similar goals together, get them together in probably like the same living room, very similar to let's say like, so back when I was at University Park, I was part of another student chapter of another professional organization called ACM, Association for Computing Machinery. and it really reminded me of the great times I had in that student chapter, where it wasn't really like, yeah, like there's a little bit of ACM in there, like, you know, what the big bad ACM wants, but really it was really student driven. It was really a matter, like a combination of computer science, computer engineering, a few electrical engineering students, you know, like really just getting together who just want to hang out outside of the academic context, or probably similar majors, just want to hang out outside the academic context, but also have the ability to network not only amongst themselves, but also, you know, like see what kind of projects people are doing, you know, get some of the companies together in that same room, perhaps, like, you know, like once a month, once a week, things like that. So the point with Discord is that now that, you know, we've got all this stuff virtualized, you know, like especially with the pandemic, but even when you have a situation like this virtual student chapter where you can't really get all the students together because we're all everywhere, you know, like, why don't we just have, this is essentially that virtual living room, that virtual, you know, classroom where you have your meeting, like, you know, once a week. But instead of just once a week, it's literally just like whenever you're popping in, whenever whenever you have a little study break, or when you have some free time, you just pop in, see what's happening. You know, like people are probably going to be chatty on there depending on the server. But, you know, like it's just a matter of, like, you know, you've got some downtime, come and hang out, see what's happening. If a discussion interests you, well, you can just jump right in. So that's really that's really why Discord matters. It's not so much the tool, although the tool does play a little bit of role in it. Like, you know, there's a reason why Slack is inactive when it comes to like a social setting. It's not really meant for a social situation. It's more for work, and Discord's more for the socialization. But really, it's about just taking what human nature already had and just putting it in an online platform that's kind of free of like all the algorithms, like the social media algorithms and all the crap that social media is. So with that, I'll start sharing here. Start sharing on my phone. See what happens. Can all you see something here? See my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me open up Discord. So, and I'm about to make a portrait real quick.
So Charlie, you do this through your phone, or is there a computer interface as well, or phone is really?
It was originally a web application, and it still is a web application. I just happen to be doing it over my phone because of GoToMeeting limitations. So this is I actually want to show. So you see on the left here, this is like, so I'm part of a lot of different Discord servers, very like, you know, like kind of all over the place in terms of interests, in terms of topics. So like the one of them is actually our detachment Discord, which is actually inactive, which is not really all that active, only because we use GroupMe primarily. But you see, like on like here, I've got one which is really just like me and a whole bunch of friends who kind of knew each other. There's a couple that are writing groups that are like, you know, novelists, people who write, things like that. One of them, this one right here, this is like, we call it Clueless Programmers, but it's really just a whole bunch of us who are in the open source technology world, and those who want to break into technology, and we just mess about and you know, have fun. This one is the Young Amateurs Radio Club, which is actually a completely online amateur radio club. This one's Illinois Young Ham Club, even though I have no association with Illinois whatsoever. This one is like a whole bunch of us amateur radio operators who are also volunteer examiners. We have a server to kind of just coordinate, not only just to talk about you know, just giving out amateur radio licensing exams, but like how we do it, especially with now that we're doing remote exams, things like that. Whole bunch of channels for different subtopics and things like that. Let's see. There's a few, like this is the Philly. Those of us who are from Philly, like we have one to coordinate amongst ourselves, our local, the local Philly area, because I'm originally from Philly. All of us volunteer examiners. This one is probably the most interesting one. This is the r/engineering students subreddit. So obviously Reddit obviously is a big, online, community in and of itself, but then, like each individual subreddit, like they might want to have, they may feel that, yeah, like Reddit's one format, but like we might want to have a chat format as well. So a lot of subreddits will now have Discords, and very different channels to the general channel. There's a meme channel, homework help channels, things like that. And this is the one where I kind of want to go over, which is like, yeah, this is exactly what an in-person student chapter of ACM or any of the other professional organizations, not just SAMI, but just in general, a student organization at a school. This is essentially how you would do it on Discord. Or really, like if you go back to the Atlantic article where it was about, like YouTubers or like other social media influencers creating their own Discords. I mean, this is really it. Like you have, yeah, it was originally created for, that community and that maybe that subject matter, but it's also, but even more so, it's about hanging out. It's about helping one another. It's about providing that support and also just disseminating information. And so even in, let's say, engineering students, obviously you've got the homework help channels, you've got serious talk about, like about school and all that stuff, but you also just have channels for goofing off in, like PC talk for all that is. Couple of the ones that the Atlantic mentioned, like, I mean, like their Discords that they mentioned have like a job board. Is like a job board has nothing to do with like promoting that creator's content or anything like that, but it's just it really is about the people. So I mean that's the this is the, yeah, I mean this
So,
one,
Charlie.
Eastern Collegiate Cycling Conference. What's that?
Yeah, Charlie, we're going to start running out of time, so I want to drill down into some specifics, and
Yeah.
I want to see if anybody has any questions.
I'm
But
pretty much done anyway, so.
Well, I'm thinking ahead to where we want to be going, like with the webinar series. So there would be a process for us to set up a channel for virtual student chapter, for example, or the community outreach, college outreach community of interest, and then there would be subtopics under that. Is that how it works?
I mean, it's really up to us to see, like how we want to do it. It's a matter of, well, first of all, you got to get the community set up. You can't just go in there. You can't just go in there and just be Sammy. Like you can't do that. You actually really need to build up that community. Build up the community first, just kind of as an organic way. Just get everyone together who is interested in military engineering. Just have it be like, especially with the college outreach, especially amongst the students, we want it to be about, like, initially it really has to be about like students of similar interests getting together, hanging out, helping each other with homework, social atmosphere. And then you can slowly but surely, once you've built it up, once you kind of set the stage for how the community feels, then you can start coming in. But first you have to.
So if we've got these, oh, I think you froze.
Before you can really go hard. But yes, that is announcement channels, and you can even do streams on the Discord as well.
So with the webinar series we have coming up, would that be an opportunity for us to start building that community where we would set up the channel and then start inviting people as part of our inviting them to this webinar series?
Yeah. So so actually something that, like, to even get in Discord at all, it's like to get in a server, you actually have to be provided an invite link. Some of those invite links are ephemeral. Some of them you can make them permanent. But it's really a matter of, like, you have to get the link. It's that's probably the one thing that's similar to Slack. You have to have a link in order to get in, and you can probably post it on the SAMI website under, College Outreach COI, just like you did with Slack. But even with the webinar, you can do that as well. But I was thinking more, yeah, like you can put it on the webinar, but I was thinking more about when it comes to building community, like really reaching out to the existing student chapters that already exist, have them kind of have the student chapters, the student members in those chapters kind of really set up the stage, and then and I think that will probably work better because you already have that captive audience, so to speak.
Right. Well, I mean, we need a communication tool. I think, like I mentioned earlier, the challenge is I don't use this kind of stuff, so we would need somebody like you to help guide us on what sequence we should be doing to make this an effective tool for us. So if you're willing to work with us, I'd love to regroup with you in January and see what we need to do to start testing this.
Yeah, I mean, like I would say a lot more of it. It's just about just making people aware that that's going to exist. That's the biggest thing right now. We can figure out the community stuff, and we can figure out how we're going to do webinars or SAMI specific stuff later. But it's really about getting the word out and building up the community before you do everything else.
Great. I think there's probably one further discussions, and maybe we can table this for now and have a separate discussion a little bit later on, so we can move on to Patrick before we run out of time. Or we're kind of already almost running out of time, but I want to make sure we get to our student chapter competition as well. Or sorry, a student competition. Thank you again, Charlie, for everything you presented. This has been very helpful. All right. Oh, I don't know where the agenda went. 1 second. There we go. All right, so our last item on the agenda is our student innovation competition. And Patrick Bass has been working on that, this endeavor for the COI. Patrick, I'll let you maybe give a little overview of what you guys have put together so far and where we're moving forward with on this.
Sure, yeah, and I'll try to be quick. So building off some of the input we received from Dick, Eddie and I were roughed out a competition announcement and walkthrough for an SAME competition to leverage and showcase the work our students are doing in their senior design project. And so it's a senior design focused competition. And our goal is to get this out to the membership in January to field the competition this year and then adjust going forward. So the write-up goes through a background and overview of the competition, as well as the grading rubric that we would use to evaluate the work. And initially, we were thinking we could use volunteers from the COI to do the evaluations of the submissions, and then after this year, maybe build this out with the post and get volunteers from the post moving forward for evaluation. And so we're thinking for the competition itself, we'd have 2 submissions for our approach. So like an initial abstract that we could use to kind of narrow down the field to get final submissions. And the final submission would be more or less a poster presentation type of video that they would submit to us. So 3 to 5 minutes going over their senior design project, the kind of technical approach that they did, the importance of it, and so on and so forth. And then we would pick, say, the top 3, and the top 3 would present at JETC. The top 3 would also get some type of prize, and then they would present it at JETC. And then at JETC, we would do a final round of evaluations and then announce the overall winner. So the idea is for this is getting your feedback on the competition structure itself, the write-up, and then any other thoughts you had so we can adjust before sending it out.
Excellent. And I think Eddie sent all this out, so if folks want to read through, send us any comments or questions, they can do that. You can send it to Eddie or myself and Patrick, and we can review and make any changes as needed. But overall, I'm very excited. It's a new endeavor for our COI, and I think we're going to have a very interesting 2021 to get this going. Bless you. Does anybody have any questions right now about the student chapter the competition? Sorry, I keep calling it a student chapter competition. It's just our student competition.
Kelly's asking about students that graduate in December. If they graduated this December, like this month, they wouldn't be, because we don't have this announced yet. They'd have to still be in school to participate, is my guess. If they graduate next year, next December, they would probably still already be in the mix if they were part of a team, I would see. So I could see them still being eligible as long as their team was. But is that what you were asking about, Kelly? This December?
Yes, I was. My daughter just graduated and she's on the SAMI student chapter at Georgia Tech, and she had a great project that she did with Fort Benning that I thought she could participate in, but if she's not, that's okay.
Well, you know, maybe we'd love to have her on the planning team and she can help us, do design and judging. She can come
I'll
over
mention that to her.
All right. Yeah, any other than feedback, feel free to forward. We're going to tease this out on the survey email I'll send out, and then we'll send out the final version after the new year. Thanks, Patrick.
Sure.
All right.
All right. And again, if anyone has any topics that they would like to be covered at future COI meetings, please just let me know and we will try to get those on the calendar. But otherwise, we're over time, so I'm sorry we went over a little bit, but I hope everyone has a great holiday, a happy new year, and we will talk to everyone again in January.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thanks. Happy New Year. Have a good day.